Ardar Switchheads, Canaan's me name, and reviewing Dungeons of Dreadrock is my game. A dungeon crawler epic adventure with a good few twists and turns. And before you get all twisty and turny, go ahead and subscribe for more weekly reviews and sales videos. And a quick like would really help the channel out too. Now let's see how deep these dungeons go. Engage. As it happens, pretty deep. Story-wise, you go with your brother to the dungeon that he has been chosen. The chosen one. A strange voice and a temptation compels you to go into the dungeon, even though knowing that the gods have forbidden women from using swords. Not very enlightened gods then, are they? But as you discover, all is not what it appears to be, and there's more to all this than meets the eye. Okay, so if any of you that see Puzzler anywhere in this review and roll your eyes and think it's not for you, just keep watching. Although this is as much a dungeon crawler as a puzzler, and mixes the two together with neat outcomes. Let's take a look at them controls before we get moving on, shall we? So, I couldn't figure out after completing the game how to start a new game. So I've had to use my other account to basically show gameplay in this way and obviously for the video. Now then, movement is pretty straightforward. It is your standard moving, and you kind of like move into these like grid boxes. Every time you want to interact with something, you interact by walking into it. And then you can like destroy doors, use levers, kill things. A bit later on, you do actually get to throw your dagger as well, or knife as well, which is awesome. But yeah, you can look at things, and that beautiful lady's voice comes up, and
hard to guess what's
yeah, I really like that bit. The game itself is made up of levels as you traverse through the story that gets told to you via instances and dreams, and some are actually really funny. But you're just going to have to take my word for that, because I want to keep this as spoiler free as I really can. And as well as this, some levels even require you to go back into the other levels in order to solve that level. It's really clever in that way. But there is a slight problem with that. If you die there, you have to start that level again. Instead of, you've completed that, gone to the next level, come back to complete that other level, die on that level, and you have to do that all over again. It seems a bit weird to me and somewhat annoying. It is a puzzler. And, as you would expect, some puzzles are easy, some are hard, and some need creatures to complete, or observing your surroundings very closely. Other mechanics are added the further in you go, and a fair few times it's not been so obvious what to do, and you then end up randomly bumping into walls to try to find what works. I really don't want to give these levels away, but as I said, I'm going to keep this as spoiler free as I can. But they do get clever at times, witty at others, damn right silly and funny that will make you laugh out loud. Lol. There's even some funny nods to other games as you progress, and yeah, they are pretty cool. And weirdly enough, at times you will feel badass. And oh yeah, there's a hint system, but I didn't want to use this as, well, it's for wimps, isn't it? The game's just entertaining, it really is. You can be working out how to get rid of a load of ogres using only a switch pad and fireballs, and no, it wasn't as easy as that actually explanation of it, to teleporting around a screen or making something teleport to open a door. You even get to meet other characters that will kind of help you along your way. And that little voice in your ear making it feel at times like you're in a real D&D game, and she's the DM explaining things as you go along. Mwah! Sheer genius. I love these little voiceover bits.
Dark roots that seem to emit an evil aura of infestation.
I will say here, before we actually carry on, that I did have one hard crash on level 87, that I had to reload the game again. Although I will say the restarting from scratch, seeing all the levels that you've gone down at that level is pretty darn cool. And I will say it didn't crash again once I went back. There was also a level where you could talk to 3 skeletons in a row, and if you stepped in the middle of the row of the skeletons, they all tried speaking to you at once, and it kind of like mixed up the writing and didn't blur it, but you couldn't tell because they were all in different speech bubbles. And it was kind of difficult to tell what they were all saying all at once. There is so many different elements to this game that it's kind of like I could just go on for ages and ages pointing out little details and things that it did right, and how it actually kept the gameplay fresh all the way through, and taxing at times, which is good. There were some little like things in there that you wouldn't expect, and unfortunately there were times when, as I said, you'd be bouncing yourself off the wall just to try and get to the next level because something wasn't too obvious. Visually, it's rather blooming nice. Lovely details like little streams, like water areas, to the fallen enemies, blood sticking to your feet as you walk. I would actually remember that little point as well. It's just a treat in so many ways, and these little details, they just really sort of like add to the experience. Audio has the same polish with the localized sounds, ambient sounds all around, making the dungeon actually feel alive. And that voice is just stand out all the way through. The good. Some good puzzles. Funny even in the credits. Yeah, I love that little bit, guys. That was just so nice. Some great mechanics. Really good retro look. Really cool voiceover. Really cool voiceover. The bad. Going back to a previous level just to solve another level and dying and having to do that level again kind of was annoying. Because of some of the mechanics, the fact that you have to walk into things to hit them, it's all too easy sometimes to kill something that you don't want to kill, that you need to use later on, and you're trying not to kill, if that at all makes any sense. The ending was over a little bit quick for my liking. What a roller coaster of a game, dragging you down, picking you up, making you smile and laugh, even stare in wonder at how great you can be. And you even get a high speed chase with a dragon, although when I say high speed it was more slow and calculated, but still pretty decent. And for all of this and much more that I've not mentioned, because I don't want to spoil things, I'm going to give Dungeons of Dreadrock a 5 out of 5. It really is such a nice, lovingly made game. And before we get to my alternative, why not subscribe to the channel for more weekly reviews and sales videos and much more lately. And yeah, it would be much appreciated, and thank you very much. And also hit that like button because it really does help small channels like mine grow. And now for that alternative, I hear you cry. And for this one, I've had a bit of a tough time finding something that matches up perfectly. But I have come up with Dungeon and Puzzlers. Dungeon and Puzzlers is a 2D spatial logic and ability switch puzzle game where the adventurer's ability depends on what equipment he is currently using. Yeah, that sounds all very interesting, and it kind of does look quite cool, and it's the best I could do. But if you've got a better one, or any comments whatsoever on Dungeons of Dreadrock, leave it down in the comments. You know you want to, and I'll reply to them all. And if you want to continue this conversation, which you're more than welcome to come and visit us in our community Discord, because life is better when we switch together.